Hi class, during this video I will be reflecting on standardized testing. When learning about standardized tests, I always think about my daughter who was in second grade. As a child with an IQ score of 132, that places her in the 2% superiority amongst the nation. When you put her in front of a test, my daughter is also one of the very low scoring students. From experience, I can admit that standardized tests do not tell you who the child is. Tests should be used to help determine and make decisions about the student, but not establish the placement of a child. Within my classroom, we use VPK assessments and monthly tests to examine the child. In connecting with what I already knew as a pre-K teacher and teacher aide and paraprofessional and one of our elementary school test proctors, I am well informed about many of the standardized tests because I am surrounded by them yearly. Also, I am a mom, so infant tests such as the Apgar scale I have been able to see occur. I have also learned from experience as a mom that standardized tests do not completely evaluate the child's thinking and knowledge. My daughter, who has an IQ score of 132, does not do well on standardized tests, and therefore it's hard to establish where she stands in evaluations because in class she is able to work and receive very high scores when it has nothing to do with standardized testing. In extending my knowledge and what pushed my thinking in new directions, I believe that standardized tests are good to have because of the new information you gain as a teacher. Normally, standardized tests do not tell you about the child until after the child has already moved on to the next grade level. Based off the results of these exams, as a teacher, you learn where your own possible weaknesses and strengths lie within the classroom. I stand by the validity of daily or weekly observations and assessments that review the topics and items from which have been taught within the classroom, textbooks, and curriculum. As far as challenges, some information that is challenging is basically how much information of results based on these exams is valid and reliable. Yes, we read that it is proven to be reliable and it's proven to show validity within the classroom and as every child. But for as long as I can remember, teachers spend most of their time teaching kids to learn the test that will soon come rather than actually teaching students in order to succeed when the test comes. Even during taking standardized tests, results cannot be based on what is printed on paper. If a child scores low, one must take into consideration a lot of variables that have affected the child on that specific test date. When students sit down to take tests, you do not know if they're too cold, hungry, thinking about their parents' big fight the night before, if they're able to use a testing device such as a computer mouse, and yet they still sit down and take these exams. I previously just took, I proctored the Flickers exam, which is for kindergarten students, and it covers what they learned in VPK. Some of these kids, although they went to a VPK class, they weren't taught to use a mouse, and that really frustrated a lot of them. That really discouraged a lot of them from testing or choosing the wrong answer, because if they're moving the mouse and they click where it said where we told them to click and it doesn't work, they will go to the next answer and see if that one works, and if the mouse works, and that was the answer that they chose. For someone like my daughter, she gets nauseous and is a nervous wreck when testing begins. I feel that it affects the way she tests, but the school has said otherwise. Thank you for listening. I hope you can give me some feedback.